CGC held my order for months, and they didn't even grade the metal cards that I sent them. What was the point of holding my... Today, we finally got our CGC order back that has our 25th anniversary celebrations metal Pikachu and Charizard cards. CGC had to hold these orders for months at a time so they could come up with a case that would not damage the metal cards. Let's go ahead and get into this order, and let's take a look at that case that they designed for these metal cards. The first card in the order is actually going to be a Perfect 10 Vermilion Saiyan's Dragon Ball Super card. I have only gotten like 2 CGC Perfect 10s ever, so seeing one of these is just absolutely crazy for me. I know they've gotten a little bit more lenient on their grades, and they've been giving out more and more 10s recently, but still, seeing a Perfect 10 is just amazing. I really wish that CGC would change up their label somehow, because the Perfect 10s and the Pristine 10s are the same color. They really should just rip off the idea from Beckett to have like a black label or like a different color label here. I really think that that would help the value of these Perfect 10 cards if they didn't look so similar to the Pristine 10s. Going into the next card here, we have the Mewtwo and Mew GX from Miracle Twins. Got a Gem Mint 9.5. The next card we have is the holographic first edition 20th anniversary Lily Pad Mew. That's just a beautiful card. Got a CGC 8.5 on that. I'm still not a big fan of how CGC grades their cards. They're extremely harsh on the centering of cards. It results in a lot of Mint 9s and a ton of 9.5s instead of giving out that 10. Everybody wants the 10 on their cards, and they really should be a little bit more lenient on the centering because we have absolutely no control over that. Got a couple of Marnies here in the Mint 9. All right, we actually got another Perfect 10 on a modern English card. That's really surprising. Normally the Perfect 10s come in Japanese cards because the quality control is so much better. I do really enjoy CGC slabs. I think they actually have the best case on the market right now. Just the value really isn't there compared to PSA, which has made me kind of lean away from grading through CGC. Mainly because the value is so vastly different between CGC and a PSA 10. If you don't get a Perfect 10 on CGC, you're basically losing money that you could have gained if you just graded it in a PSA card, and you're more likely to get a higher grade through PSA. I've honestly been making a lot of money through CGC, picking up their CGC 9.5s and 9s and regrading them through PSA. The vast majority of them do come back in a PSA 10, especially when they're a 9.5. This card probably sells for about 60% of what a PSA 10 would sell for, so there's a lot of room for profit for cracking open CGC slabs for PSA right now. I do another Perfect 10 on the Melanie from Silver Lands. This is crazy. If you guys think I should send in some of these Perfect 10s to Beckett to try for black labels, let me know down in the comments. I think that would be a really fun video to make, and it would be really cool to have, especially this card, in a black label. That would just be absolutely crazy. The difference in price would just be astounding if that were to come back in a black label versus having it in a CGC Perfect 10. As you can tell, the biggest potential with CGC right now is actually just regrading the CGC slabs into Beckett and especially into PSA. Here is the Celebrations Gold Metal Pikachu card. They did grade this one. Got a near mint 8.5. So the case is much different than a regular card. As you can see here, there's like a little insert on the inside of the metal card slabs. It looks like it just holds the metal cards in place. That's the only difference between the cases here. This is just the card, and it looks like there's a little insert inside of the metal cards to actually keep them in place. I'm a big fan of these metal cards. I'm really glad that CGC does grade these cards. They do grade a lot of cards that other companies don't, especially error cards. They have really cool slabs. They have a really good reputation as a company in general. I just wish that they would do something about their Perfect 10 label, and I think that would really help their business. This is amazing. The Charizard got a near mint 7.5. These things are so easy to scratch, to dent, especially the chipping on this. This one actually looks really good, except for right there. There's one large chip right there on the edge, and then it actually has some more, not even sure what to call that, surface damage maybe. And there's just a lot of chipping along the edges of this. It's no surprise that this one got a near mint 7.5. In their raw form, the metal Charizards sell for right around $100 to $110. They're probably actually worth less graded a CGC 7.5. We have the crazy looking Tornadus EX first edition from the Thunder Knuckle Japanese set. This plasma series just looks so good, especially on the Japanese side. Beautiful card. That just looks so good on the inside of a CGC slab. We actually have the Getsis that goes with the Spiral Force, another plasma card. The hollow pattern on this is just absolutely amazing. Man, those look good. Those are probably the coolest looking cards in this entire submission. We did get a mint 9 on this metal Charizard. Looking at it, I mean, to me, it looks exactly the same as the 7.5 minus that one little chip, but that's all it takes to knock it down from a 9 to a 7.5. These do look really, really good on the inside of these CGC cases, but I do believe it's only a matter of time until PSA starts to grade these. If you were to get those metal cards in a 9.5 or a 10, they're selling for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, some of them even over $1,000. Here is the excess material non-graded Charizard. I can't believe that they didn't grade this. Like, they held my order for months and then they send it back ungraded for excess material. What does that even mean? Excess material. Looks like maybe the card extends a little bit further on the front than it does on the back. But I mean, that was the whole point of coming up with a case. So these have to be perfectly sized. Otherwise, they're not going to grade them. That makes 0 sense. And not only do they not grade it, but they're stuffing things inside of the sleeve with the card. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, got the corners circled for the front and the back. Just saying the card is longer than it's supposed to be, which would make it an error card, I suppose. But then they shoved the label on the inside of the sleeve with the card. That's just terrible. They should not have done that. But apparently, it's not suitable for certification because it's too large. They hold my order for months and months, and then they don't even grade the card that they were supposed to. Then they don't even grade the card that they held my order for. And that makes 0 sense on the end of CGC. Just another reason why I've begun to avoid grading with them. This will probably be my last CGC order that I do for the foreseeable future, unless they make some pretty drastic changes. There's just no value. I know personally, I do like their slabs, but just the value is not there. The overall experience is just not there. It's not as fun to receive a whole bunch of mint 9s and 9.5s because they're a little bit off-centered when you could get those PSA 10s and really have a much higher premium. I know it sounds like I'm complaining a lot about CGC. They have a lot of really, really good things about their company. And honestly, they're probably still second best only to PSA. I just wish they would make some minor changes and they could really start to take off and really see that uptick in value that collectors, investors, and people really want to see before they really start to invest and send tons of their cards into this company. Whenever you get a card like this in an excellent 6 through CGC, you could send it into PSA and the difference in value would just be absolutely crazy. More collectors want PSA cards because that's just what they have. That's an amazing looking Mudkip's Big Splash Pokemon Park promo. This is the Mudkip starter deck holographic promo. Both of these cards would be more valuable in a PSA case. We got the Brock's Mudkip. This is one of those crazy rare cards that most people never even know exist. This came out of a school magazine all the way back in 2003. Such a cool card. This would be really cool to get signed by the voice actor. All right, we got another PokePark Mudkip promo card. These are just amazingly cool cards. Probably worth more in their raw state than they are in a CGC case, but they do have that really good color coordination with CGC. Got an 8.5 on this metal Charizard. It looks really good inside of this CGC slab. It really, really does. Anything below a 9 on these metal cards, you're better off just selling them as the raw card because the majority of the value wrapped up in these cards right now is getting those higher grades with the anticipation of PSA or even BGS starting to regrade them. Got the Flareon VMAX in a mint 9. We're going to start going through these a little bit faster with just a lot of honestly low value cards here. Got the Vaporeon VMAX. We got the Sylveon VMAX. Just a lot of evolution cards here. All of them, 9.5s. If we sent these into PSA, guess what? They would probably come back 10s. We got the Jolteon VMAX. We actually got a perfect 10 on the Leafeon VMAX. That's surprising. We might have to send that into BGS and see if we can get that black label on these perfect 10s. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that's what I'm going to do with the perfect 10s that we do get. I think we have 2 perfect 10s so far out of this submission return. Let's see if we have any more perfect 10s. We got the Umbreon here, got the Espeon, both of those in a mint 9, $10, $15 slabs at most. We got the Glaceon VMAX. We got a whole set of the Evolution VMAXs. We got the 25th anniversary Charizards in a 9.5. If we sent these into PSA, can almost guarantee that they would come back 10s. And the value is basically double versus what a Gem Mint 9.5 is through CGC. I do have a very large personal collection of CGC trading card Articuno cards just because the color coordination for me is really awesome and I do really like their cases, but the value is just not there. And I really hope that that changes in the future because these slabs do look amazing, but they're just being held back by PSA. People already have vast collections in the PSA slabs, so they don't really want to change. Most of the people who have a lot of money to spend on Pokemon cards, they've already started their collections in PSA, so they don't want to switch over to the new company, even though CGC does have a really good reputation. But it does get a little frustrating whenever you just get 9 and 9.5 after 9.5 through CGC, when you know these cards would get a 10 through another grading company that would have more value attached to them. A lot of people do grade their cards just to be able to make money for their personal collections. I am one of those people. I do send in extra cards when I send in grading submissions to try and recoup some of the cost of grading cards that I want personally. Really cool Pikachu McDonald's collection card. Honestly, getting this McDonald's card in a pristine 10 is kind of crazy. I've never seen a 10 of these McDonald's cards. They just weren't printed the best, honestly. And the way that they came in the pack inside of the Happy Meals, just they were so easy to get damaged. All right, we got the Bulbasaur and the Squirtle as well. 8.5 and 9 on those. Got another Squirtle here. Got the Charmander. Looks like we just got a bunch of 8.5s and 9s on these McDonald's 25th anniversary collection. These are all personal collection cards. Got another one of the Charmanders. Tried to get a good decent grades on those, but other than that Pikachu, looks like they all came back 9s or 8.5s. We got the secret rare Urshifu VMAX. Look at that card. It's just a perfect card. Yeah, I honestly, this is probably going to be the very last CGC order that I do. I don't see any reason to continue to grade through them, especially whenever they hold your orders for months at a time and then don't even grade the card that they held the order for. In a Mint 9, this card is honestly crazy off-centered, and I know there's some damage down here on the bottom. I'm actually surprised that got a 9. That's a personal collection card that I actually got second place in that tournament. And here's the Shaman V-Star, another 9.5. Just 9.5 after 9.5. We have another small box here. I think we actually do have a few more perfect 10s. Let me know what you guys think of CGC. I know I've just been kind of talking bad about CGC. They do have really, really nice cases. Probably the best case on the market, in my opinion. Do you guys think that just people having their collections in PSA is what's holding them back? Or do you guys think there's other issues? Do you guys think that their harsh grading, especially on the centering, is an issue? All the 8.5s and 9s that seem to come back from CGC, do you think that just turns people off of wanting to grade their stuff through CGC? I know that's a big turnoff for me, especially whenever I'm sending in things to be graded that I just want to resell. Whenever those get the 9s and 9.5s, I know that people, the only reason they would even consider buying these cards is to crack them open and to resubmit them to PSA for more profit. And that's a huge, huge factor. I know that this is a collectible hobby. I know that that's not all that should matter, but it is the biggest factor for a large majority of people. And if they say it's not, they're lying to you. I sent in a bunch of these VMAX Climax cards. You know, these were all pack fresh, all opened by me. And I figured I would get a couple of 10s and just they're all 9.5s basically. Looks like we do actually have a perfect 10 here on the cast form, the character rare. This is a more surprising card to get back in a perfect 10. We'll add that to the perfect 10 pile. We'll be sending that to Beckett to see if we can cross it over to a black label. I'm really hoping that we can cross these over to a black label. That'd be a whole lot of fun. We got the Kingdra, got a 9 on that one. Basically, all of these cards that I sent in expecting 10s, they're all coming back 9.5s. And if you look at them, you know, eyeball test, they're perfect. They're basically perfect cards, and they're all coming back 9.5s. We did get a perfect 10 on the Alcremie, probably the least desirable card that I sent in, but we did get it in a perfect 10. We'll send that over to BGS as well, see if we can get that black label. I wonder if perfect 10s always cross over to a BGS black label, or if their grading standards are not the same. Maybe BGS grades more harsh. Here's another personal card. I actually won this card as well. Personal collection stuff. A lot of my personal collection stuff does go to CGC just because I do like the slabs. Got the Jolteon I really expected that one to come back in a 10. We got the Pikachu and Zekrom. Came back in an 8. Better off just opening up that slab and taking the raw card out. Got the Hatterene V, another card that I really expected to get a high grade in. Just most of these cards looked absolutely perfect. The Japanese cards, the VMAX Climax cards, and those recent promos, just absolutely nothing wrong with them. This is honestly just a really cool card. Doesn't really have a lot going for it other than just being a cool card. Got about 4 or 5 cards left here. Kind of the same theme. Everything coming back in a 9 or 9.5. It looks like out of this entire submission that I specifically sent in to try and get 10s, we've only got about 3. 3 10s and just a ton of Gem Mint 9.5s and 9s. That would easily be PSA 10s. If I were to recrack all these and send them into PSA, I can almost guarantee that almost every single one of these would come back in a PSA 10 card. Let me know what you guys think of CGC. Do you guys think that CGC cards is honestly a dying concept in the Pokemon trading card game scene? Do you guys think that really their only value is coming from being able to cross them over to PSA? That's basically the only reason that I'm buying CGC cards right now, is to crack them open, to resubmit, to be able to increase the value of the card through another grading company. Let me know what your thoughts are about CGC. Check out the next video down below, and I'll see you in the next one.